everyone. Today we're going to talk about multiplication shortcuts. Our essential question is, what are some multiplication shortcuts? In today's lesson, we're going to learn several different ways of using shortcuts to help you with multiplication. This will help you as you're learning your fact power, so that later on when we do more challenging multiplication problems, they'll be a lot simpler for you to do. So let's get started. Our first shortcut today is the turnaround shortcut, also known as the commutative property. On this one, the order of the factors does not change the product. So let's talk about factors and product real quick. If we had a problem like 3 times 6 equals 18, the factors are the numbers that we are multiplying together, like the 3 and the 6. Both of those are factors. The 18, that answer, is the product. So this shortcut is simply telling us that if we have a multiplication problem like this, I can switch these two factors around and I will still end up with the same answer. So here's another example. 4 times 3 equals 12. If I switch these two numbers around and write 3 times 4, my answer will still be 12. So it doesn't matter which order my factors are in, the product on both of these is still 12. This is nice to know because if you already know 4 times 3 equals 12, then you'll already know this problem as well. 3 times 4 equals 12. It just saves you a step in your memorizing of it. Our next shortcut is the multiplication by 1 shortcut. If 1 is multiplied by any number, or any number is multiplied by 1, the product, remember that's the answer, is that number. So here's an example. If I have 1 times 8, 1 times any number, my answer is going to be that number. So it's going to be 8. Or if I take any number and I times it by 1, I'm going to end up with that number again, 6. So any number times 1 equals itself. Our next shortcut is the multiplication by 0 shortcut. If 0 is multiplied by any number, or any number is multiplied by 0, the product is 0. So here's an example. If I take 10 and I multiply it by 0, I'm going to get 0. If I take 0 and I multiply by 5, I'm going to get 0. So let's look at why the multiplication by 1 shortcut always ends up with the same number, but the multiplication by 0 always ends up with 0. So let's look up here. If I said I have 1 plate with 8 cookies on it, how many cookies would I have? 8. But down here, if I had 10 plates with no cookies on it, I don't have anything. I have 0. So this one's always telling me I have one group of whatever that is we're talking about. And this one says I could have however many I want of nothing, and I still end up with nothing. Our last shortcut today is the familiar facts shortcut. Let's take a look. There are 3 different ones we're going to look at today. Our first one, for the 2's facts, you just count by 2's. So if I have 2 times 3, I'm going to go 2, 4, 6. I'm just counting by 2's. For 5's facts, you just count by 5's. So if I have 5 times 4, I'm going to count 5, 10, 15, 20. And our last one is for the tens facts. For tens facts, you just count by tens. So let's try 10 times 7. Let's see, we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So we've practiced and learned about 4 different types of shortcuts. The turnaround shortcut, where it doesn't matter which order the factors are in. The multiplication by 1 shortcut, where any number times 1 is the same number that we started with, this one here. The multiplication by 0 shortcut is any number multiplied by 0 is always 0. And the familiar fact shortcut is if you multiply by 2, you count by 2s. Multiply by 5, you count by 5s. Multiply by 10, you count by 10s. So let's give you a chance now to practice a little bit. On the back of your page, you will see a place for us to practice each of these types of shortcuts. So I'm going to go ahead and give you some problems here, and then you can go ahead and fill in the answers. So our first one is a turnaround. We're going to go 2 times 6 equals something. I'll let you figure that out. And 6 times 2 equals something. Notice I just switched these around. On the multiplication by 1 shortcut, we're going to do 1 times 9 and 3 times 1. And I'll let you figure out the answers. Multiplication by 0 is 5 times 0 and 0 times 4. And then the familiar facts. We're going to go 2 times 4, 5 times 3, and 10 times 9. After you have finished this back page, don't forget to go back and ask your 2 questions and write your summary. Have a great day.